if you tried to say what you were thinking, or what came into your mind, we've got 4 billion pieces of information, and you tried to verbally or communicate that, could you accurately reflect what your thoughts were? Could you exactly describe what is going through, what your idea is? Potentially, could we're hit with these 4 million pieces of information, any given period of time, we break it down, we talk about a map of the world, and then we process our thoughts at a manageable level, 5 to 9 pieces of information, all these influences and these factors that contribute to understanding and how our behaviour. If we attempted to transfer that idea that we have, or that process of thought through communicating, could we accurately reflect on what's going on? Could we accurately just through communicating verbally?
Not initially, no.
Not initially? Okay. Okay. So the thing is the idea that we have in our mind is deep structure. Okay? The idea then we communicate is surface structure. So what someone says as a result of their idea is going to be deleted, generalized and distorted unconsciously to meet their map of the world. Okay? So you might say to someone, so you might get up in the morning, every morning, and go to the local shop, and in your mind, your map of the world, you've got these representations of walking to the local shop, getting the paper, milk and whatever else. And someone asks you, where were you this morning? Well, I went to the shop. And in your mind, you know where you went, what you did, and the process. And the process is linked to images, it's linked to what you do, it's linked to your thought process and patterns. Yet the other person who asks you the question, they don't know. Well, what shop? That's been deleted. Generalized. Distorted information. Okay, so the key is we look to unravel what goes on here to find out more of what's going on there. Okay, so what someone communicates at surface structure doesn't fully represent what goes on at idea level, at deep structure. It's not a full representation of what's going on at that level there. So how do we get to that level? How do we get to that level, and why is that important? Well, it's important, and we'll speak about why it's important as we proceed with the meta model. Yet, just a little bit more understanding, deep structure, images and feelings. Okay? Deep structure, we're not precise in our words when we refer to what's going on. Surface structure is our own map of the world. Okay? So if someone says something to you linguistically, like in the first day we said, write your understanding of the word relationship, everybody in the room had a different understanding. Okay? Now, the one thing for sure, when you thought about writing your understanding of that word, you would have had images and feelings. And those images and feelings would have been broken down and deleted, distorted and generalized based on your map of the world, until eventually you came up with a few sentences based on what your understanding of the word relationship was. Okay, now if someone comes along to you, and I mentioned early on in the course, and says, okay, I'm feeling down, now you might have a different referential index to feeling down, to what they do. Or you might be completely on a different page to where they are in terms of moving forward. And has that ever happened? Have you been in a situation where you spoke to someone and they've told you something, but your understanding was completely different to what they were saying? You completely misunderstood, or vice versa, what was being said. And that's map of the world, okay? Now, what's important is we use the meta model and some key points as a guide to follow what people are saying. It is a very powerful model, and is a model that once learnt can be very useful. Yet it is a model that is refined with practice. Okay, now if I was to ask you, let's say you had a belief. You believe in something, and the belief may not necessarily be serving you anymore. And I said to you, why do you believe in that? If I question your belief, well, why do you believe in that? What's your reaction?
Being challenged.
Of course, yeah, you're being challenged because I'm challenging your belief, okay? Or you may elicit a number of reasons to reinforce your belief. You may even produce more reasons to support that belief. Yeah, I am questioning what's going on at a surface level. If I explore, and I explore a little bit deeper, I'm still challenging. I'm not challenging the person, I'm challenging the behaviour, which is key. Okay, because I'm challenging the person, then I feel it's violating them or whoever they've picked up the belief. Okay, if I challenge the behaviour, okay, then they don't feel challenged. Okay, do you understand the difference between challenging a behaviour and challenging a person? So if you were to challenge a person, if someone believed, okay, blowing themselves up was the right thing to do, and you said, why would you want to do that? They'd elicit reasons as to why they do that, and they'd have referential points as to why they think it's the right thing to do, and support what they do. If we challenge the behaviour, how does that serve you? What purpose? It will still find it challenging, yet we can break down what's going on in their mind at a deeper level and get a more positive result, maybe a different behavioural change, to explore what's going on at a deeper level. Okay, so we use it as an inner guide to follow what we were saying. Thought patterns show up in language. Through people's language, we are able to get a better understanding as to what's going on, how they process thoughts, what their patterns are. We can use the meta models as an option. We ask questions where they're useful. So we're not asking questions for the sake of asking questions. We're asking where we think it's useful. The meta model, it can violate, it can be challenging, so there has to be a purpose intended to use the actual model. And the purpose is to recover lost information. Okay? Help the client loosen up their map of the world. If they're very rigid in their map of the world, just loosen up a little bit. Untangle it. We then are able to ask a series of questions to restore these deletions, generalizations and distortions that they've obtained over possibly a number of years, or maybe they feel that it serves them to a point. So these are considerations how we can use, and we need to decide what level of information we want from the person. What exactly do you want to know from that person or people? We start with the biggest chunk, okay, and the biggest chunk refers to the source of information that we feel we can question and break down to a level we can begin to get a deeper understanding as to what's going on. Clarify our own understanding, what the other person is saying as well, because one person might say surface structure might be different to what they mean at a deeper level. Clarify our own thought process and communication. Help other people become aware as well, because people may not know. They may, because an unconscious thought process, they may not know their own behaviour. They may not know that possibly they've got unconscious beliefs and thought processes that don't serve them. So they get a better understanding of their own mental map. It's a good technique and a good way to help people solve problems, reconnect their thoughts, sensory experience, and identify various gaps. Okay, so if we use, for example, we use an example where if someone told you, okay, I went to the shop, that was a surface structure. Okay, what do you think is going through their ID? It says, surface structure comment, went to a shop. What goes through your mind? What images and associations do you have with?
Yeah, which shop? What did you buy? Why did you go to that shop?
Yeah, yeah, okay. And you'll have your own references in terms of what's expanding our meaning there. Because what happens if you work with someone and you work with them based on what they're saying? Will you get will you get an accurate reflection as to what's going on?
You'll just get their map of the world.
Of course, definitely. And can we help someone just in their map of the world? If we don't expand their map of the world, if we don't let them unravel and loosen their map of the world and loosen the grip on various beliefs and thought processes they have on their mind, will we get the opportunity to help them move forward, change their perspective and learn something different? Could we do that? Oh.
Not really, unlikely.
Of course, definitely. So what we need to do is find out what's been deleted, what we feel is necessary, okay, what's being generalised, okay, and what's being distorted. Where have they got their sources of information? Have they learnt through modelling, or have they learnt through a process that probably doesn't serve them very well? Okay. And I find when I communicate with people and I work, whether it be coaching or whatever, what they say at this level here sometimes, or many times, is completely different to what's going on at this level here. Or many times, is completely different to what's going on at this level here. There is a tendency for people to ask people, well, why? And give them suggestions and tell them what they should do, yet without finding out what exactly is the source of the problem, what's going on in their mind, what's brewing under the actual surface. So we're going to ask these specific questions to challenge and to be able to find out what's happening at a much deeper level. There's a relationship between the two, the surface structure and deep structure, and that relationship is based on deletion, distortion and generalization. So the first thing we mentioned was omitting. So for example, I saw the man. Who? What man? There's information that's been deleted there. So if someone tells you, I saw the man. And these are just examples. They don't relate to anything other than examples as how we would want to unravel more information. Okay. So if someone told you, I saw the man. Who? What? The neighbourhood was ruined by who exactly? What exactly? Another surface structure comment. A specific criteria for comparison. If someone tells you, I handled the meeting badly. What meeting? Okay, they've got a criteria of comparison. So what benchmark are they working towards? We need to know more. So if they're very disappointed, I handled it really badly, I didn't do well, what is their criteria? It's unspecific, so we need to find out what exactly and how they compare. There was a good cause. Compared to what? Again, another criteria in their own mind. Unspecific about the how. Well, I enjoyed myself. Same again, it's not specific. This is a good cause. So it's without being specific in their own mind, their surface structure. They have something that's going on in their mind, yet we need to unravel what's going on. Generalisation. Does anyone know what a generalisation is? Any thoughts on generalisation? Anyone ever come across a generalisation? Okay.
All foreign people are untrustworthy.
Okay. That's one, there we go. Okay, and it is a good point, because it's a generalisation. If someone operates out of that generalisation, how do you think they'll react to foreign people? If that in their mind they feel that way, will that affect their behaviour?
Yes, it does.
Potentially. Yeah, very much so. Definitely. So we're forming principles or conclusions on the basis of our limited direct experience. Okay? Our limited experiences. There's a big wide world out there. We're just basing it on our experiences. So for example, you might get someone who's in a relationship and the relationship doesn't go very well. And they decide that all men or all women are evil or bastards or no good. But they're generalising based on their experience. There's 7 billion people out there for you. So for example, someone will say, okay, foreign food tastes terrible. Pop music is rubbish. So once again, it's based on their experience. It may be a very limited experience, but what they've done is they've formed a generalisation that they work through that reference point, and they can pass that on. And that information gets passed on and does lead to social conditioning, but also for themselves, really, it's going to inhibit their... Can't model operate as an impossibility. Have you ever come across people who... but I couldn't refuse? Okay? I am what I am.